So I have a question. Have you ever prayed, begged God for an answer, only to be met with silence? You're not alone. I'm right now currently going through the same. But what if I told you that God's silence isn't his absence? That even in the quiet, he is still speaking to you. He's speaking to us. Stay with me, because in this video, we are going to uncover the hidden purpose of God's silence and what to do in those moments when he's silent, in the toughest seasons of our lives. So stay with me. First, we need to understand what's God's silence. Understanding God's silence is sometimes God's silence is a test. It's a test to us. Just like Job. Think about Job. He was a faithful man of God. But guess what? He was tested the most. Job lost everything he ever owned. He was attacked with illness all over his body. Job would have lost his faith. He could have cursed God, actually. And that's what his wife told him. Like, why don't you just curse him? But Job did not lose faith. Job knew that it was a test he was going through. And God restored Job. He restored everything he ever owned, he ever lost, even more. So sometimes we are going through a test. And we need to be very, very careful. Because in that test is where we grow. And we get to grow our faith as well. But also other times, silence is an invitation. God is drawing you closer to himself. He wants you to seek him more. He wants you to go deeper with understanding and cultivating your relationship with him. So he will be silent. But also silent doesn't mean abandonment. Just because he does, you don't hear him, doesn't mean he's not there. Many times he's actually closer than we think. So that's how you get to understand what God's silence is all about. Then, when he's silent, what do we do? What do we do when he is silent? That we've understood the essence of why he's silent, what do we do in the moment when we're waiting? One, we need to stay in his word. Even when you don't feel his presence, his promises remain true. So don't disappear off the surface. Stay in his word. Read the Psalms, read the Proverbs, read the Romans. Just read the word. Just go on Google and find words or verses that encourage you during the season that you're in. Read that word. Read it back to him, because the Bible tells us that his word does not return to him void. So we need to stay in his word. And then the other second part, we need to reflect on his past faithfulness, because God has been faithful in the past. So what makes you think that if he has been faithful in the past, he won't be faithful now? So once we remember and reflect on his past faithfulness, we are encouraged that God is still the same God. And if he did it before, he will still do it again. Whatever storm that you are in, whatever abandonment, whatever disappointment, whatever hurt, anxiety you're feeling, remember that God is still the same God and he will still be faithful. And then also, the other part is you need to remain faithful. Like, remain praying. Keep praying without ceasing. Do not stop praying. The Bible tells us that pray without ceasing. We need to constantly pray, constantly petition, constantly keep in his promises. Because through that is where our reward and our answers will come from. And then also you need to trust his timing. Trusting God's timing is the best, because God's timing is perfect. It's never too early, it's never too late. He is always on time. The other point 5 I would encourage you to do is surround yourself with faithful people in the community, because sometimes God speaks to us through wise counsel of other believers or people that have walked the path that you have not. So God will align people in your path, and those people will be able to speak into your life. And most times, God is speaking through them. So there are 5 points. Stay in his word, reflect on his faithfulness, keep praying, surround yourself with faithful people, and trust God's perfect timing.